Alright, so it's Tuesday, August 23rd. Have a climb coming up on the 26th, which is Friday. I fly out Thursday. So, just going to go through and do a gear check here. It's the most important thing of any climb is to make sure that you have the gear that you need. Because essentially when you're climbing, you're in a survival situation where all that you have with you is the gear that you bring up. So every ounce is important. Also, one of the biggest complaints that I got last year from my website is that the videos were too short, only like 10-15 second snippets each. So this year I'm going to try to get some longer videos. So first one, here is all the gear that you need to climb Mount Rainier. Very important, every mountain is different and you're going to need different gear for each mountain. But we'll go through just to give you a snapshot of some of the gear that you'll need for Mount Rainier. So to begin with is your different dry sacks over here, and it's important to have different colored dry sacks so that you can divide your gear into different colors. So that you know what's in each one and you're not fumbling around on the mountain when you need to, say, get out of some hand warmers as opposed to glow sticks or whatever the case may be. You know exactly where all your gear is. Also, very important to keep your gear dry, and so this is one of your most important pieces of gear is a garbage bag. And essentially what you do with this is you line the inside of your backpack with a garbage bag, and it helps keep all of your gear nice and dry. You'll need two, one to line the inside of the bag and one to cover your sleeping bag. Very important that you separate it with those two, one on the sleeping bag and one for the rest of the gear, because at least you'll know that if the one for the backpack breaks and is compromised, you'll always have a dry sleeping bag. Very important to stay dry on the mountain. This is a standard backpack. It is 70 liters. What it says is 70 plus 10. Reason why it says 70 plus 10 is it's 70 liters plus 10 extra liters, which you get by expanding the brain of the pack up here. You can actually get 10 extra liters, also the extra pockets on either side. And there is some damage from Mount Rainier snow fox that actually attacked my bag last year when I was sleeping and ate my Kit Kat bar. Bastards. Okay, next piece of gear that we have is what we call the gaiters. Here's a standard gaiter, and essentially what the purpose of a gaiter is to number one, keep your boots and your feet dry, and also, more importantly, number two, is to protect your pants from the sharp crampons, the spikes that you put on the bottom of your boots when you're climbing the mountain. So it's kind of like a shield to make sure that if you do snare your leg with your crampons, you don't poke a hole in your Gore-Tex layer or your soft shell layer or any of your under layers. Instead, you'll just hit the gaiter. So it kind of keeps all your bulky pants and layers down your boots nice and streamlined. Also keeps it so you don't trip on anything. So gaiters, very important. Essentially it goes over your boot, like so. And Velcro attaches it, and the hinges up top, and you've got your gaiter on. Very important that you make sure that the gaiters that you buy will fit over your double plastic mountaineering boots, which I don't have here because I'm going to rent those at the mountain. A good percentage of the gear you'll be able to rent at the mountain if you don't own it yourself. I've collected almost all of it over the last 2 years. Next set of stuff that we have here is what we call the layering system, and surprisingly, when you're on the mountain, you don't have one big giant puffy suit that keeps you nice and warm and dry. You actually have a series of layers, so that as you're Climbing, if you get hot, you can take off a couple layers to cool yourself down, and if you get cold, you can add some layers to warm yourself up. Very important that you don't sweat on the mountain. Bear Grylls used to say, "You sweat, you die," which is pretty drastic, but very true. Because if you sweat and you get your inner layers too wet, you're more likely to get cold and risk hypothermia. So layering system starts right down with your boxers. Very important that you don't just wear any old boxers up there. You cannot have any cotton on the mountain. You don't need any cotton up there. Cotton retains moisture and gets wet. So everything has to be polyester or synthetic material of some kind. These are polyester. You can tell if it's synthetic because it'll tell you that it's wicking, which means it wicks the moisture away from your body. So probably 2 pairs should do you for a standard Mount Rainier climb. Then you've got your underlayers, which are, again, synthetic long johns, essentially, help keep you warm on the mountain. You want 2 pairs of those, one thin and one much thicker for the second day and for your summit day, really, when it gets cold. Some thicker pairs of long johns. And you also want what's called a soft shell, and a soft shell is a thin, versatile climbing pants that, again, are waterproof, synthetic. North Face is a good brand. And that's the bottom layer that you'll have. One final layer that I don't have here is the Gore-Tex. And the Gore-Tex is the heavy waterproof layer that actually protects you if you get into a major storm. So layering system here. On the colder days, you can wear the thicker bottoms, and on the warmer days, you can wear the thinner bottoms, or just this soft shell. The layering system for the top is very similar. What you have is a couple polyester t-shirts. You need a couple of those. And then you also have a couple, just like for the bottom, for the top, you have a couple long john layers. Again, one thicker than the other, so you have a couple options when you're layering. You can get these with a turtleneck. I prefer no turtleneck because once you start putting on all the layers, if you have turtlenecks, they start to bunch up around your neck when you're climbing, which can be uncomfortable. One thing that is good for the underlayer is to get one with these thumb holes here that your thumb can go through, because it helps keep that layer from riding up when you're climbing on the mountain. So that's part of your upper layering system, lower layering system, upper layering system. And then finally, for the upper layering system, you've got your warmer layers. So we'll start with a fleece. Nothing like a good fleece to keep you warm on the mountain. A very good insulating layer. In addition, this is something that I got. I didn't have this on my first climb, got it on my second climb. But one of the warmest things that I have with me is this down vest. And this, I think it's a 600 down vest, which is very warm on a layering system. So this thing is awesome. You can put that over your fleece or without the fleece, but that'll keep you warm. And then finally, you've got your soft shell top. This is a brand new one that I got just for this climb, and the benefit of this one is it has a hood, and it's not mandatory that you have a hood on a soft shell, but the hood is good because if you don't have a hood on a soft shell, then the only hood that you're going to have with you is your Gore-Tex. But your Gore-Tex is a little bit heavier, a little bit bulkier, and you don't want to be relying on your Gore-Tex every time you get some precipitation coming in. This hood can help keep you dry without relying on your Gore-Tex. Your soft shell needs to be good.